Thank you for joining me for another episode of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, and I'm here at the news forum where all voices matter. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have had a bit of a wild ride recently, from China's cold shoulder to recommends to buy from George Soros and others. Here to make sense of it all is a return guest. Ian Khan is a crypto expert and futurist and has recently finished filming The Bitcoin Dilemma for wide release. Ian, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Tony. It's a pleasure.
So I guess right off the top, what do you make of the latest crypto activity? What's going on out there?
I think, the industry is finally coming to some stability. There's some kind of regulation on the horizon, and that's actually great news for everybody. I think the good days of crypto are still ahead of us.
Interesting. So what do you make of China? Is China repositioning themselves, or what's going on with the Chinese government attitude towards cryptocurrency?
So as we know, Tony, in the last couple of months, China has cracked down on crypto miners, crypto farms. Strict regulations have come in place for any kind of cryptocurrency related businesses. And as a result, large crypto exchanges have started pulling out of the country. China has also, over the last couple of years, started testing out its digital yuan. They hardly use any cash in major cities in China. Everything is either digital or through an app, and so in many ways they're very advanced in the usage of traditional money, if you will. What China has been also testing, apparently, and that's what the Vines say, is the idea of toying with their currency and trying a crypto side to their currency. Now, there could be many different implications of that, whether China is trying to create a global domination through their currency, through the yuan, and put it up against the dollar as a global currency that's equally strong, or do some other kind of a feature we don't know, that only the Chinese can comment on.
Yeah, obviously they've always wanted to displace the US dollar as the reserve currency of the world. So just to try to distill it down, are they cracking down on other Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency with a view to entering the market themselves? Is that part of their strategy?
I think it's still a while before we would know that, because any kind of a financial move like that would have to be slow, and I doubt they would do it really rapidly. But going towards that somehow would be happening right now. I think they are moving towards really strengthening the yuan and putting it up against the dollar. Whether they will create a crypto side to it and put it on a blockchain or some kind of a distributed system is yet to be seen. Crypto is fluctuating right now. There isn't stability in the industry. Many cryptocurrencies are using different kinds of technologies. Some of them are not even based on blockchain technology that is used amongst many of the cryptocurrencies. So there isn't a consensus on what format and what standard should cryptocurrency use. And so it's hard to tell what would China use. If you look at some of the comparisons of cryptocurrencies out there, there isn't a standard, and everybody says that their cryptocurrency is the greatest. So it's kind of hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you a little bit later about standards, but one final initial question. We've seen recommend to buy from some players, including George Soros, I guess was one of the more prominent ones. Is that something that will maybe heat up the market, or will it calm the market? What will it do you think?
I think whatever it does, markets will continue to fluctuate. And Bitcoin, although it has an upward trajectory generally over the long term, the ups and downs will continue as prominent figures and politicians and celebrity CEOs tweet about different currencies. They will fluctuate, they will tank. So even though there might be a short-term gain on it, I think a downturn is inevitable, but then it'll go up again depending on who tweets about it. And that's the nature of cryptocurrency right now, which doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, we got about 30 seconds before our first break, but there are people flocking to invest on the basis of somebody uttering something. But maybe that's just like the stock market in a sense, right?
It can be, but there's much more fluctuation as
Mm.
compared to stock markets, and that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, we're going to continue with these topics. Of course, we've got a little bit of a break ahead of us, but we will continue with Ian Kahn, who is a crypto expert. After the break, please stay with us. Welcome back to Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, and I'm here with Ian Kahn. He is a crypto expert and futurist, and he is the author of a new documentary called The Bitcoin Dilemma. Ian, global value of cryptocurrency now is $2 trillion by last count. So, obvious question, but what does it all mean? $2 trillion means that there's a lot of investment in this area, right?
Well, it's definitely more than what it was 10 years ago when crypto even started, right? So if you look at the amount of growth that crypto has had, it's incredible that people who never believed in this industry have started investing in it. So that definitely has to be a sign that stands for something. Crypto over the last 3 to 5 years has gone a lot of more adoption in the hands of the common people, in the hands of institutional investors as well, who've started taking it seriously. And that, I think, is a good sign. I really believe as adoption and regulation continue, more regulation on a national, global level happens, I think there will be more adoption. And so I really believe there's good times ahead for crypto. And by good, I mean a stable times ahead of crypto where there'll be less fluctuations.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And you've been mentioning this on the show, obviously, that there is a lot of fluctuation in the market. We should make that point pretty clear. And part of it, I guess, has to do with the fact that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency started out with no real central authority. And so where are we going when it comes to more regulation, more standards, global standards? Tell us what's going on with that.
So the challenge is that different parts of the world are doing different things. In the US, there's been a good amount of change, and we have the first ETF now that's trading in cryptocurrencies. They're moving towards regulation, more regulations, more good frameworks that can create a safety net for investors. States like Texas are inviting cryptocurrency mining companies to set up shop, use their energy infrastructure, low energy cost to set up shop and start mining cryptocurrencies. And the exodus of companies from China is potentially a good sign for that, and the US can benefit. In other parts of the world, Europe is looking at cryptocurrencies in a different way. The UK is looking at it in a different way. China is doing different things. So there isn't really a global standard for cryptocurrencies as of right now. And that's kind of the problem and the challenge in the hands of everyone. Will we have global standards in the next 5 years? The fact that cryptocurrencies themselves, there's more than 1,200 cryptocurrencies, makes it a little bit hard on what to standardize. It's the wild, wild west of money trying to get decentralized, which is the fundamental basis of cryptocurrency, and how to standardize it. So it's not very easy to do this. And I think it will still take some time before we have 100% standardization.
Yeah, I mean, I think you raise a good point that maybe some of our viewers aren't aware that it's not just about Bitcoin. There are many, many other cryptocurrencies, new ones every week, basically. So to get a handle on that and to create a safe marketplace, it's not an easy thing.
Yep. And definitely cryptocurrency exchanges work under regulations. So definitely there is some regulation there. They're traded as assets under those exchanges. So that part has definitely become much more stable than it was 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. And so do you expect that the United States will have sort of greater central authority over this as well?
I believe the U.S. has the potential to somehow take the lead on creating some kind of regulatory framework, along with working with the European Union or countries in EU or the UK across the Atlantic. So there's definitely that possibility. I think it'll be much more easier to work with partners in order to come up with regulation rather than to create their own and to work alone on this.
Let me return to the issue of new cryptocurrency launches. You mentioned this earlier too. What's the significance of that? Why is that happening?
So newer companies or companies and organizations who are looking at the value of tokenization, breaking apart some kind of value and tokenizing it in a way so that it can be offered as a cryptocurrency or a token. That's what's happening right now. Different industries, including real estate, are now trying to sell real estate by tokenizing it so that you can have a fractional investment into a multi-million-dollar condo, as an example, and you can invest $100 and still be part of that. But we would have to invest through their token or through their cryptocurrency.
We're going to have to take, Ian, we're just going to take a quick break. And we're back here at Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, with Ian Kahn, crypto expert. Ian, sorry, I had to break you off there. You're talking about, basically what you're talking about is different fields of human endeavor, different industries are taking this model of fractional ownership, such as you have at Bitcoin, and applying it to their own industries. Is that what's happening?
Absolutely, that's correct. And the idea of real estate investment is a very good example of that. You can now take a real estate property, a development, tokenize it, which means you create smaller parts of it on a blockchain-based system and essentially create some kind of a currency or an asset through crypto, which can be sold at a fraction of a price. And you can have many other investors. You can do fundraising in that way. And that's a good way in which builders, as an example, can bring a lot of investors together for projects. Other industries are testing this model as well. And in fact, the trust equation of blockchain, which is the fundamental technology behind cryptocurrencies, makes this happen. So different types of cryptocurrencies use different types of mechanisms to create safety and to create trust, different models, but all of those use blockchain technology, which helps create that trust and safety for investors.
So that's a good point, because when you were describing that, my mind wandered to 2006, 2007, 2008, where people were doing kind of they were slicing and dicing these mortgages, securitizing them, and then sending them out to market as a mixture of mortgages, which they claimed would be safer. But of course, when everything crashed, they lost a lot of their value. But you're saying this is a different kind of situation.
It is, and I think that was the fact that it happened after those mortgages were issued, and there were problems in recovering them and so on. But when you look at even a project starting up, when it's even not constructed yet, and you're looking for investors, that's a great place for tokenization to take place, or to convert that investment required into some kind of an offer where many people can be part of it through investing in that coin or investing in that blockchain. And something like that is happening with a new model called non-fungible tokens.
Right.
And we hear about that in the news all the time.
Yeah, no, of course, NFTs are with us, and people are still trying to figure out how best to use those, I guess. So we'll watch that market closely as well. I do want to return to the role of central banks for a second. Obviously, a number of them have shown an interest in their own cryptocurrencies. So what are the implications for that?
I believe at this moment in time, banks are really just trying to find a way not to be too disrupted by cryptocurrencies and trying to figure out a way of staying relevant. Of course, the lure of cryptocurrency is very strong. It is potentially a disruptor if there's mass adoption and people stop using fiat currency and traditional money and start using more of the crypto economy, which is not regulated, which is not controlled by any central government. And that relinquishes control from banks and so on. And banks could lose trillions of dollars if that ends up happening without them having any kind of involvement. Banks are working, many banks are believed to be working on their own version of crypto, their own digitized currency. I mean, today, a majority of money the bank issues anyways is digital. It's not actually physical coins and notes. But then it's the idea of putting it on a blockchain-based system, being able to work on it. I think it's still early days, and it might not be at least 3 to 5 years before we have an actual use case of that.
Yeah, are they watching? I believe is it El Salvador that is at least partially switched from the U.S. dollar to cryptocurrency? Is that one of the things that they're going to
That's
be watching?
correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So El Salvador is a great story. However, it's a small, very small country with a very small economy, very little exports. A majority of things are imported, and it doesn't have its own currency. It
No.
works on the U.S. dollar traditionally. And what El Salvador has done is kind of switched to Bitcoin, and they want Bitcoin to be one of the other currencies that is an official currency. But there's a lot of work to be done in El Salvador in order to make that a great success. Small businesses have to be able to use Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in order to successfully trade. Rent has to be paid. That needs to be paid in cryptocurrency. So as a result, El Salvador has bought a lot of cryptocurrency in terms of Bitcoin, and now they're allocating that amongst their population and giving everybody a wallet and funding that wallet. And it's a great story to hear about, but there's a lot of challenges ahead still for El Salvador.
Well, we'll watch that one closely. We're going to take another short break. Welcome back to Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, and I'm here with Ian Kahn. He is a crypto expert and futurist and author of a new documentary called The Bitcoin Dilemma. Ian, do you get a sense that people are getting more educated about cryptocurrency? Is this something that it's not just for people who have a huge amount of expertise? I mean, tell us what you're seeing out there.
So I see a lot of need for education about cryptocurrencies to be out there in general, and that's the result. That's the pure reason why we even worked on the documentary. I'm currently in Dubai and attended a huge cryptocurrency conference, a financial industry conference, tech conference, all mixed together. With a lot of over 100,000 people attending. And the amount of content presented here tells me that the world has moved far beyond the basics of just wanting to know cryptocurrency. But at a consumer level, I think we still need a lot of knowledge on what this entire cryptocurrency revolution means. How does it impact jobs? How does it impact income? And what should an everyday common person do about this whole cryptocurrency world? I think there's still ways to go, and we need to work hard on educating everybody.
So I just have to ask. So you're in Dubai. There's 100,000 people at a conference right now?
That's correct. Dubai is open for business. The region's largest technology conference, GITEX, just concluded. Over 100,000 people.
Incredible. Well, I hope we get to catch up to Dubai on that very soon. What is the way that people can learn more? What are trusted sources? How do people learn more about this industry?
So a lot of research looking at sources that you can trust, but please do not trust anybody. You've got to do your own research, your own due diligence, and cross-compare different sources. There's a lot of good information out there that'll help you understand the basics of cryptocurrency, the basics of the industry, but we have to take an active interest and expect to be confused, because it is a little bit confusing in the beginning to make sense of digital money, digital currency. And I suggest going wide and not going too deep in the beginning, but to be consistent in trying to see what news do we have today about cryptocurrencies. Why has the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto gone up? What are NFTs? And in fact, all of these things have been covered in the documentary that just got released.
I'm glad to hear that you are covering that. And one of the things that I discuss with people is, I guess they say, well, I don't understand it and it doesn't seem to have any intrinsic value. And I said, well, what is your paper money? What's the intrinsic value of paper money is just the confidence that you have in paper, in a piece of paper that has a president or a prime minister on it. So is that the kind of discussion you have?
Absolutely. And in the film itself, we have many different experts who are talking about the evolution of money and explaining it in a way that I really find very simple and effective. We've got others talking about the impact of crypto on the world, what NFTs mean. And these are really renowned people, chief economist of the SEC, investors, traders, professors, authors. It's people of that stature that are bringing together a collective knowledge of work about cryptocurrencies and this entire revolution. And it's all captured in the documentary.
And I guess I should ask, we've got about 30 seconds left. Where can people watch the Bitcoin Dilemma now? Is it out for distribution?
It is out. It is out. Just go to YouTube and type in the Bitcoin Dilemma documentary or Bitcoin Dilemma film, and you'll find it right there. It's freely available.
It's freely available on YouTube.
Yes.
They can watch the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank Ian Khan again for joining us. This is his second appearance on the program. I hope you decide to come back as well. He is a crypto expert and futurist, and as we've been saying, he did author this new documentary called The Bitcoin Dilemma. Do give it a read, or I guess a watch in this case. Thank you for joining us, Ian.
Thanks so much for having me, Tony.
Take
care.
Well, aside from the fact that I have a sudden urge to visit Dubai, I also want to thank Ian Khan for joining us. He's a crypto expert and futurist, as I mentioned, understanding some of the new developments in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. There's a lot going on all of the time, and of course, we urge any potential investors to really do their research and make their own decisions, make up your own mind as we do. Thank you for watching today.